So Wyndham Earl's onesie. Did you notice anything unique about it?
It looked discolored to me.
Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are talking about Twin Peaks Season 2, Part 2. Mm-hmm. The stuff they don't want you to know about.
The stuff that they buried, they didn't want anyone to see.
Yeah.
The bad stuff.
Kind of.
Well,
ABC didn't want people to see it so bad.
No one did see it.
Yeah,
My understanding is that the ratings plummeted after Part 1 of Season 2, which we talked about in episode 382 of Guide to the Unknown.
The saga, if you want to go back to the beginning, we talked about Part 1 in 377.
So start at 377 perhaps, jump to 382, and then arrive here. Mm-hmm. The opening of Season 2, just to like encapsulate it for anybody who doesn't know or doesn't remember, they solved the murder. Who killed Laura Palmer? That was what the entire show hinged on. That was the call to action, as they say. That was wrapped up. ABC basically said to David Lynch and company, like, you will solve this mystery. You will solve this mystery.
You must. Yeah, because people were pissed that it wasn't solved in Season 1.
Exactly. And so they had no choice but to solve it in the first handful of episodes. And that's what we discussed last time. That's considered the good part of Season 2. We are here to discuss
the rest of Season 2.
The next part.
How did you feel about the next part?
It can't hurt me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having said that, this is probably only maybe the third time I've ever seen it. It's always like it's a mess. Yeah. Right? It is a mess. They don't know what to do. They don't have a story. Mm-hmm. This puzzles me to no end. It's just like, instead of like, okay, well, we solved who killed Laura Palmer, what should we do next?
Everything. Everything else.
Everything. We bring in even more new characters. Yeah. And it's just, the whole thing, it just like collapses under its own weight. Watching it is like, there's a lot of dream imagery with Twin Peaks and all that. It really is kind of dreamlike. Yeah. I watched it all. I was in the room while this was on, and I was looking at it, and my attention was undivided for a lot of this. And still, it's only been a couple of days since I finished. Yeah. And it's like, what a mishmash, a conglomeration of bizarro plots and stuff. Yeah. It's confusing to me, even sitting here talking with you right now. Totally. But how do I feel about it? I feel okay. Mm-hmm. I don't hate it. Yeah. I don't hate it. Yeah. How about you?
No, I feel the same way. It's certainly not what one would call good. But multiple times watching it, I was like, even so, I'm still kind of enjoying myself. Like, even when it's stuff where I'm like, what is this? Why is this happening? Yes. Like, just the oddity of it or something is still kind of enjoyable. The strange atmosphere of Twin Peaks is still something that I like being mired in. Yeah. Even when it feels like miring instead of like basking.
Yes. The bulk of what we're going to talk about today is like just kind of hanging out in Twin Peaks. Right. Sort of aimlessly. Yeah. There's no goal. No one has a goal anymore. So you're just seeing what these people's lives are like on a day-to-day basis. And that has really its own
bizarre
interests and merits and 1,000 subplots, many of which we will touch on, I'm sure.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't say like I enjoyed a lot of it, and yet it's like Stockholm Syndrome or something. I watched it so rapidly, because to tell you the truth, I lost track of time. Yeah. And I had to cram this in the last handful of days. So I was like really just in Twin Peaks in the last few days, and so It wrapped its arms around me.
It turns you into a resident of Twin Peaks, where you are also sort of unmoored.
Right. So like no matter what, I was just like, I'm in this, honestly.
Right. And then
and fine with it, even if sometimes I'm not. I don't even know how to describe it.
I know, it's very unusual. We'll do our best. Yeah. And then ultimately, as everyone says, it sticks the landing with a terrific season/series. Finale before cancellation.
Kyle MacLachlan at the end of this is so good. Yeah. He's so good
I couldn't agree more.
Just how Zanny, he's saying that like a totally different person.
Oh, sure.
Oh my God.
It is exciting. It is exciting. I'm thrilled to finally be talking about this. And so I think we'd better get into all of it because there's not enough time in the world to do it all justice.
Yeah, totally.
But we shall do our best.
Yep.
After this commercial break.
Okay, so we've been doing this kind of structure. We've been doing spoiler free to start. Then we've been doing just talking about, the section that we're talking about. Like, so this would be this part 2 of season 2. And then we've been opening it up to talk about the entire series as a whole.
Yes, a 3-tiered cake.
Right.
Right. So spoiler free, do you recommend season 2?
I do.
I also recommend season 2.
Yeah.
As bad as it gets, I think that it's part of like horror mystery television history.
Totally.
I think it's fascinating to watch.
It also has its merits.
It has its merits. Yeah. Every episode, by and large, has something in it that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Even the worst that it gets.
Yeah.
But before we open it up to a spoiler section, because I think that should probably conclude our spoiler free, because we really got to talk about this little thing.
Yep.
I want to say something to all of you. Finally, information about a TV series that I have worked on is coming out. The floodgates are beginning to open.
Yeah.
The Trouble with Tessa is a series on which I'm the head writer, and it is coming officially July 15th. We have a release date. It is coming to Screambox, that is a horror streaming service, through Bloody Disgusting, which is also where we're on the Bloody FM podcast label. It's all sort of in the family here, which is very enjoyable to me. And not only that, as of this recording just yesterday, the first look, as they call it, was posted. You can finally see some information. You get some of the plot of The Trouble with Tessa out here. It is about a person who goes to sort of run away from their troubled past and ends up in a small town called Lowry and sort of butts up against the weird rules and mysteries of that town. It's like a better Twin Peaks.
Ooh. Strong words.
That's probably the worst thing anyone can say. But no, it is about an odd community and somebody who comes in to sort of like riddle it out, sort of against their own better instincts, you might say.
Yep.
And right now I'm putting up on the screen in the video version, there are all of these sort of like, in a first look, they sort of show snapshots of what he can get into. Oh my gosh, Kristen, is that a monster?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. A lot of research, classic library scene.
Yeah.
Some blood spatter on Tessa there.
Yikes.
Investigating something. My goodness. It's a fun show. It's a pulpy show. I'm very excited for it to be out there. I hope that people enjoy it. What a wild, weird ride.
I cannot wait to see it.
And as this show releases, the trailer will also be online. So I'm going to link to everything in the show notes if you want to poke around and check it out. I will also say this, there is already something on the internet that people out there who enjoy the things that you and I typically enjoy about expanded universes, there's already something online that you might be able to find and start to theorize about.
Yeah. That is so cool.
So go dig in. There's the first look, there's the trailer, and there's something else there waiting for you.
Something lurking.
Something lurking, everybody. Get your first nudges of The Trouble with Tessa. July 15th on Screambox.
Something very GTTU-y is lurking somewhere out there.
Perhaps.
Yep.
All right. That's The Trouble with Tessa. Let's talk about Twin Peaks.
Very exciting, William.
Yeah. The first TV series I've ever worked on.
Yeah.
Very fun.
It's awesome.
All right. So where do you want to start with season 2? Now we're in spoilers.
Let's give her a 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
She's an old woman.
Is she? Well, you know what?
Log Lady is an older gal.
She comes back by the end. Yeah. This season is, especially this chunk of the season.
Yeah.
What a mess.
Oh my God.
What a calamity.
There are so many people here.
It's
so crazy how many moving pieces and characters we're dealing with. And guess what? Believe the hype around the Evelyn Marsh storyline. Barf.
Is it that barfy?
I think it is. I really do. I think it sucks.
It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
It's neither here nor there nor anywhere. Essentially, James, who is so dumb, or whatever he's called. What does Laura say?
She does. He's
so sweet.
Dumb. Yeah, he's so
dumb.
sweet.
I can only take so much of sweet.
I hate
the baby doll voice.
Well, yes, but No, I hate the guitar song that plays when James is on his motorcycle in the first few episodes. Like, even the song for James is dumb.
The whole thing is terrible. It couldn't be worse. But this is essentially a long, slow exit for James. We get this weird thing that happens in this chunk of the season where, because the Laura Palmer mystery has wrapped,
right,
all of a sudden none of those characters have anything to do anymore.
No, and I mentioned this storyline because I think it's one of the things that springs to mind for people first when they think about season 2 sucking is James's storyline with Evelyn Marsh.
Yes.
Because it's really like kicks off actually the next episode after Laura Palmer's storyline is wrapped up.
He leaves town and gets embroiled in sort of like a murder mystery plot in a totally different place, in a totally disconnected storyline.
And that could make it sound okay. Ooh, a murder mystery plot, but not really.
No, it's so trite, and it's like they really doubled down on, I don't think we've ever talked about that Twin Peaks is also structured like a soap opera.
Right, I don't think so.
Complete with an in-universe soap opera the characters are often watching, which has some parallels to their own lives.
I can't think of it.
It's like something to Ticket to Love or something.
Something.
But so James ends up in this like very daytime soap opera, like, well, my, please fix this car for me, James. And she's really trying to frame him for messing with her husband's car instead of fixing it because she wants to kill her husband and run off with her lover.
Right. And it takes up like a huge chunk of a whole bunch of episodes, and it's just like boring and annoying.
Yes. Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah.
But even that,
and like not really interesting. It just, well, I guess boring.
It gives James something to do, and presumably he was contracted to still be here, and they didn't have anything for him to do in a post Laura Palmer's murder world.
Right.
It gives Donna something to do for a while because she's just chasing after James.
Yeah.
And I guess she was contracted to still be here too. Like it almost feels so perfunctory of just like, well, they've got to have something.
Well, I wish they had less of it.
I totally agree. The weird thing is, this is all part of the slow march to James just not being on the show anymore, because when his story wraps up and Donna effectively runs in as Evelyn Marsh is she and her lover are gonna shoot James and frame him, and Donna gets in, and then Evelyn Marsh accidentally doesn't accidentally. Yeah. She does shoot her own lover, and Donna and James sort of get away scot-free. James is like, I'm gonna keep writing, Donna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going away now.
It's like, okay, good.
She goes, are you going to come back? He goes, I don't know. And he never does. Well, he will in season 3.
Right.
But like, he's just gone for the rest of the show. One of the main characters from season 1.
Yeah.
It just has like this farting balloon exit across multiple episodes.
And you don't miss him. It's not like you feel an absence of him. Not even if it's not even like, oh, he's our favorite character, so how strange that you don't miss him. But there's so much else going on in the show. It's so easy to have pretty much anything be squeezed out and you forget about it because
squeeze him out.
It's so chaotic.
Squeeze him the hell out.
Yeah.
Well, here's the weird thing to me. So, who killed Laura Palmer? That was what the whole show hinged on.
Yeah.
That was the marketing. That was everything. Who killed Laura Palmer? And then at the end of the good arc of season 2, when Leland has confessed and abruptly died.
Yes, I don't know why.
I mean, so many problems.
He died of sadness.
So many problems. Like, I don't want to, you don't sit here and rewrite a show. I mean, I do it all the time.
Sure.
But don't you keep him around, Leland, and have him in a jail cell? And
God, don't I wish, because as we said on the previous episode, he was so fantastic.
Amazing. And then in the first episode we watched for this episode, they say goodbye to Grace Zabriskie.
Oh, I know.
Sarah Palmer is gone.
I know. She pops back in later briefly.
Which is wonderful.
Yes, it's awesome.
Amazing. But like, why would you say goodbye to these This drives me...
They basically say goodbye to like everything good. Almost everything good.
They really do. So CTAs, a call to action, right? Like something just to hang your hat on of like, all right, well, here's the next thrust, all right? The previous episode where like Leland dies and they're like, what is Bob? Maybe Bob is just the evil that men do.
Yeah.
Well, if Leland was possessed by Bob, where is Bob now? Okay. let me rewrite a universe for you, Kristen, where now there's a new call to action of the series Twin Peaks, and it's not who killed Laura Palmer, it's where is Bob? Because we've now set up that Bob is this possessing spirit. Anyone could be Bob.
Yes, it makes all the sense in the world.
Leland is dead, but we haven't defeated evil. Shouldn't we now
Leland
be
was like
worried?
A shell in a way for Bob.
Yes. Shouldn't the murders continue now? And the new thing isn't just who's the individual victim, but now we know the killer could look like anyone.
Yes. Yes.
Shouldn't that be the new call to action?
That would be a great call to action. Absolutely.
Instead of that, they have nothing.
They have a million things. They have Nadine, who thinks she's a teenager with super strength. They have the Pine Weasel. They have all this stuff. They have a buns motif. Did you notice how many times the word buns was used in this season?
Buns did come in the word cloud of Twin Peaks.
I have all of them.
How dare you know the actual number?
I have all of them. First reference, school burns my buns.
Yeah, because no one goes to school anymore. Because Audrey and what's his name, Bobby, they just don't go to school anymore.
No, they just work.
It's been about 2 weeks since the show started. Because this show takes place almost every episode is a day.
Yes,
it's been 2 weeks since Laura Palmer was killed.
Yes, it's crazy.
Bobby and Audrey just don't go to school anymore because it numbs her buns.
His buns.
His buns.
Yep. Yeah, he just wears suits all the time now.
Big suits.
Huge. Nadine about Mike. He has the cutest buns.
Yeah.
The third buns is also Nadine. It's at the end of my notes. And where is it? I might have to do a find for buns.
Of course, as usual. You probably have that as like
find
a saved
in
search.
Note.
You're running this search constantly.
Okay.
How many times does buns appear in Kristen's notes?
That's the new question. Where the hell is it? I know there's a third one.
Oh no, this could be a huge
No,
mystery.
here it is. I guess it all started when I noticed Mike's buns at school.
That's true.
Nadine explaining.
That's correct.
How they're, so 3 buns.
Is there something about kids no longer going to school, Audrey and Bobby?
Yeah.
But also an adult now enrolling in high school.
She's taken their place. She's the old woman, actually, of the spoiler.
Woman. She's 35.
Whoa.
They say that Nadine is 35.
I know. Whoa.
Yeah.
Talk about weirdness in Twin Peaks. I was like, really?
I'm older than Nadine.
Okay. Okay.
I might be as old as Big Ed in this show then, for all we know.
Well, but then does this mean Big Ed is 35?
Yeah, presumably.
Because they all they're like all in the same high school class together.
You're right.
He's 35?
He's 35.
Okay.
This is a different world.
Yeah, it is. Also, I remembered him looking a little bit more like this teacher, but he looks like a teacher from Daria. Timothy O'Neill.
Big Ed? You think looks like Timothy O'Neill?
Yeah, give him a goog out there.
This looks like that guy from SCTV. You know what I'm talking about?
I remembered it being a little bit more clear. But there's something there.
Big Ed.
Yeah.
I like Big Ed quite a bit.
Oh, I do too.
So if we're going to go like plot line by plot line,
Big Ed needs to grow a spine.
Yeah, he does.
There's the thing. I like him, but sure, Nadine has now come out of her reverie and she knows she's 35 again.
Right.
So it's kind of implied that now he and Norma can't be together. I say no. Look, figure it out. You got to do something about Nadine. Make sure she's taken care of. But you and Norma also have to live your lives.
Yes, I totally agree. I think that there is something to be said, though, for Big Ed essentially being married to somebody who appears to be effectively like suffering under some mental illness perpetually.
Of course.
He's essentially married to like somebody with special needs.
Absolutely.
And he is her caretaker more than he is her husband.
Something has to be done.
Well, what do you do? What do you do with Nadine?
How do you solve a problem like Nadine? I think that you're absolutely right. Like this romantic relationship has to come to some sort of conclusion. It doesn't mean that he abandons her forever, but like he has to be free to pursue and live a life with Norma. There's got to be something done here.
It is tragic. They are the sweet. They work for this is like such a weird thing about how I realized this partway like through watching the show. Like I was so enjoying Big Ed and Norma and like their relationship together because I really think that they have great chemistry together, which is kind of weird because like I don't know, Peggy Lipton, who plays Norma, is like conventionally like so beautiful and like was married to Quincy Jones, like ultra like just like glitz glamour Hollywood. Yeah. And the dude that plays Big Ed looks like a small town.
Just like a normal guy.
Just like a normal guy. But like, it's incredible how much chemistry they have together. And anytime that like they'd cut away from them to like what Nadine is doing, where she's like on the wrestling team or whatever, or like anything Bobby is doing.
Oh yeah.
In this, I would be like, I want less Bobby and Shelley, and I want more Big Ed and Norma.
Absolutely.
And then I was like, I have the exact opposite thing that conventional entertainment wants, which is good or bad, I don't know. But it's like, on a show, you want the young, beautiful people. I want the middle-aged people who have a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
I want the middle-aged folks who have like something to really like grapple with, and a history and you know, a structure to their life that is keeping them apart. Like, I find that so much more compelling than Bobby telling Shelley once again, this is the next big thing.
Oh, I agree 100%. Why do you think I watched the Real Housewives franchise, William?
Because I don't know.
No, I find that so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Than young people mucking about.
Faffing about.
Yeah, basically. Although I wish, and I know it's not a thing because I've watched it several times, I wish that there was, I know that he's with Shelley, obviously, but I think that Bobby and Audrey could have a very fun, toxic relationship that I would like to see play out, at least for a moment.
I agree, and I think that there's something there. It's like a little chaste. I think that they do have Bobby pretty firmly paired with Shelley.
Yeah.
But like Bobby and Audrey, they both have this like sort of cynical youth.
Yeah.
You know,
well, they're also both kind of live wires.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very kind of enjoyable when they are kind of scheming and collaborating about trying to take down Audrey's father. That is kind of nice. But Shelley is stuck at home taking care of, talk about being married to somebody who you're the caretaker of.
Sure.
Leo, who was one of the big bads of season 1, has been reduced to a mute, catatonic fella, sitting in a wheelchair with a party hat on while his wife like feeds him, like cake,
right,
whatever. It's just like, what is going on now?
Wolf-a-rooney.
This show, I have a half-baked theory that, you know, now David Lynch is by and large not here.
Yes,
he comes back as Gordon Cole a good amount in even this chunk of episodes. So he's there as a performer, but everything that I've gathered is that he's not hands-on as a creative. Yeah,
neither he or Mark Frost were super hands-on during season 2.
It's brutal.
They were kind of checked out.
But I think that this show almost punishes people for not doing well enough. I think that Leo was kind of a wet fart.
Yeah.
Even as a performer. Like, his name is Eric DeRay, and like, it's like not his fault. He wasn't really a performer or something, then he was hired.
Yeah, he was the casting director's son.
But he stunk, and then he's like punished through all of season 2 to be reduced to like somebody who can't string together 2 words.
Yeah, I thought he was quite good, actually, later on when he's with Wyndham Earle. I thought his eyes spoke volumes sometimes.
You thought there was a wisdom there?
I did. I saw something. I was like, you know what? Actually, this is this guy's wheelhouse. He's doing pretty well.
If you just don't talk. And you just look scared.
I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Sure. Why not? But like, this will also continue, not to spoil anything, but into season 3. It's like anybody who behind the scenes had some sort of a tiff, a rift with David Lynch or the franchise, I feel like they're punished in season 3 for what their character has to go through.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know what that is in Twin Peaks.
I don't know.
All right, what other plot line would you like to talk about?
Okay, here's something that really surprised me. Okay, another plot line. I'll get confused if I try to rank. Another plot line that
I've counted, by the way, I wrote down plot lines. I'm not even sure if I have them all, and I counted about 18 or 19 plot lines.
I'm not surprised to hear that, honestly. Another plot line that when I think, season 2, things I dislike, I think about Ben Horne and the Civil War.
Ooh, yeah.
I can't stand this. However, I think Civil War is a good look on Ben Horne. I think he's looking the best he looked in this entire season, just visually. He's got something going on when he's got this Civil War thing happening. His hair is mussed. He has a 5 o'clock shadow. The coat is doing something for him. Ben Horne's got it during this section. So and I was surprised to see it.
You're into the style of the South?
No.
You like the look of the Confederacy?
No.
Canceled.
No. I'm saying Benjamin Horne looks better with a little muss and a little less fuss. When he gets his sanity back and he's back to shaving and fixing his hair, I'm like, ugh. But then when his hair's all crazy and he's got the 5 o'clock shadow, also at one point, for some reason, he has tea lights set up all over the room. Yeah. I was like, well, look at you, Mr. Horne.
Ben is very interesting to me. This is a plot line that I firmly don't understand. I'm fine with like
there's conflicting stuff going on too with him.
It's very strange. Yeah. But I find him kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So there's this whole plot line that I never have any interest in season 1 and season 2 of Twin Peaks. Catherine Martell.
It's maybe not the worst, I guess, but it sucks.
Who's going to own the Ghost Woods property that they want to develop into condominiums or whatever? Who's cutting a check to who? Mr. Tajimura.
Oh, boy.
Catherine Martell dresses up like a Japanese man for a while.
Mr. Tajimura.
Mr. Tajimura. It's just like, what is this? There's no...
I don't know.
If you're going to get rid of characters following the Laura Palmer thing, why are you getting rid of Grace Zabriskie instead of getting rid of Catherine Martell?
What an easy, clean cut.
What a nightmare this
Totally, because also we thought she was dead.
Yes.
Leave her dead.
Kill
rather than
her.
Resurrect her as Mr. Tajimura.
Make her be dead.
Make her be dead.
Yes.
So yeah, like he loses.
Where is Mr. Tajimura? That could have been the new cult.
Yeah. But yeah, so like he loses in the battle between him and Mr. Tajimura or whatever, and this like makes his mind snap.
Well, because he's businessman.
Right.
And businessman can't, and he's kicked out of One-Eyed Jack's, the disgusting brothel gambling thing. So Ben has lost everything.
Yeah.
Not everything, because he's still probably very wealthy, but he's lost in big dealings, and it sort of snapped his sanity, all these things combined.
Yeah.
And then he has to go through this episodes-long psychodrama where he imagines himself as a soldier for the Confederacy.
As Robert E. Lee.
Yeah. And essentially has to win in his mind. He has to win the Civil War. Right. The South has to win the Civil War, and then he gets his sanity back.
Yeah.
And acts very Wizard of Oz. I had the kookiest dream.
Yeah.
And you were there, and you were there. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what's the point of the South winning? Are we saying that he's good or bad? Because from this point on, he will have now also gone through this tumultuous period of losing his sanity. He comes out the other side not as a cigar chomping ultra businessman throat cutter.
Right.
He comes out the other side as somebody who wants to be good.
As a carrot chomping good doer.
He now has celery and carrots instead of cigars, and he even keeps them in the inside pocket of his suit jackets and hands people carrots as if he were handing them cigars.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he's a conservationist.
But the weird thing is, it seems like they've half written it as he's actually being a conservationist who like actually is trying to do good and care about the environment. Like he's talking to, I think, Billy Zane, who's here, by the way, as being like, how do I be good? And like seems to mean it. But then half the time he's actually doing it just to screw with Catherine and the Ghostwood properties. It's really confused.
I think it's interesting only because I like the idea of somebody who doesn't know themselves why they're doing something. I think he's insane. Like, I think he's still crazy on the other end of this. I don't know if he knows that he's doing these things out of spite or if he's trying to be good. I think that there's still that cynicism because he's like, I'm going to run for the Senate. Yeah. Like, he's still positioning himself to attain now a larger position of power.
Right.
How aware is he of his own intentions? You know, I think that's kind of interesting.
Yes, it is. But you have to do some reading to get there. It's really just that's written very true. Back and forth. Like,
yeah, you're totally right about that. But I do
wait, why is he doing this? It's weird.
I do like seeing businessman though chomping on a carrot.
I do too.
I think that he cuts a good image.
Oh yeah, well, clearly I do.
Of course, I was
surprised to see it.
Can we? Let's get to some brutality. He then is also part of this bizarre subplot where he may be the real father of Donna.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that I did something that I don't know if it has any value. I wrote down the last time we're ever going to see certain characters.
Okay.
And where we left them. And I wrote down where we leave some of the main characters.
Okay.
And this is sort of like, I'm somewhat fast forwarding to like, this is the last time we ever see Donna.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yes. This Donna.
This Donna. Yeah, true. Well, we'll have a prequel in Fire Walk with
So
Me.
I guess you're right. This is the last time we see Donna in a way.
Yeah, like chronologically, this is where we leave Donna in Twin Peaks. She will not be back for season 3.
Right.
She thinks that Ben Horn might really be her father instead of Doc Haywood. And it does appear to be confirmed by the end that, not Dick. What's his name? Ben.
Yeah,
Ben had an affair with Donna's mom, and
Right.
they had Donna, but then she was raised by Doc Hayward, who is wonderful.
Yes.
And because Ben's sort of like constantly sniffing around their house now for whatever reason.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
He just decides that he wants to reconnect because he's being good, maybe. He's like,
yeah, I guess
maybe
so.
I can re-woo.
Well, kind of. He also is sort of like grabbing at her mom at one point.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, when she comes to visit him for some reason.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
There were 2 moments like that where I was like, this is so sudden and strange. So it's him like kind of pawing at the mom and her being like, get off me. And then he gets off. And then, Bobby is always kind of like a dunce with Shelley, but there's like one moment where all of a sudden he's like super aggressive with her. And I was like, what? And then he goes back to normal. It's like when he's trying to talk her into doing the Miss Twin Peaks pageant and she doesn't want to do it. And then he grabs her arm and he's like, hey, Bobby's in charge now, whatever.
You're right.
And I was like, oh, this is not good. But then he like goes back to normal.
No, this is weird. Something happens in this chunk of episodes where some of the bad guys start to try to be good. But it's like, it's not maybe it's just different writers for different episodes.
Though, with her. He was never like abusive. And just for like a beat he is.
Yes.
It's very
very hot and cold. And it might just be a matter of different writers coming in and out and not knowing how to write 1,000 storylines.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting to me that, like, regardless of what was going on behind the scenes, it's kind of interesting to be like, here are men who have been piles of crap who to varying degrees of success are trying to say, I don't want to be like that anymore. And especially Bobby, like in season 3, he's going to be in a totally different place in his life. And like, that's kind of interesting.
I love Bobby in season 3. I will say no more.
I know. Yeah. We'll only speak in vagaries for now.
Who would have thought?
But, yeah. So Ben Horn, the way that we leave him in season 2 is that he's at Donna's house and Doc Hayward is like, I told you to stay out of here. And
this whole scene's crazy.
Like throws a punch at Ben.
Yeah.
And then Ben turns and slams his head against the mantle.
Yeah.
And the way that we leave that story of is Ben the real father of Donna, it's Donna, her mom, Doc Hayward, and Ben on the floor covered in blood. And Doc Hayward screams to the heavens. And we never see Donna or her mom ever again.
Right.
What a weird way to... Now, did they know that they were fully canceled when they were writing all these episodes and stuff? Unclear.
So
the writing seemed to be on the wall.
I watched these on DVD. Or, I don't know what it is, Blu-ray. I guess it's DVD. Anyway,
You don't have a DVD player? How'd you do this?
I do have a DVD player.
You have a DVD player?
Yes.
Don't you have to like get it out of the attic when you want to watch DVDs and stuff?
I used to have to. Now I just have it out.
Look at you.
I know.
Upgrade.
What do you think about that? So I watched it on DVD, the Twin Peaks Z-Day thing. And they have...
I thought you shot like Twin Peaks Day.
Z-Day.
Yeah, it sounded like very Mersey Dotes and Dozy Dotes. The Twin Peaks Z to A collection.
Yes. And so I watched a special featurette about the making of season 2. I thought it was very interesting. They are so negative about season 2, everybody who made it, on the featurette that's attached to the official DVDs that you can buy.
Yeah.
But they said that they weren't even thinking about season 3 because they didn't think it was really going to happen.
Absolutely.
Partially because Mark Frost and David Lynch were so checked out. Interest in it waned so much. Like, they said they weren't even like thinking about it, but I guess they kind of had to leave a door open, sort of, but they just didn't even think of it as a possibility.
What a privileged position to have a show on TV that you're like,
I know. Yeah, wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's just weird to leave all these characters in these positions.
Yeah, I know.
Doc Hayward getting violent is not anything anyone had on their bingo card.
And then his reaction is so crazy. He's just like, yeah.
Yes, it's crazy.
Yep. Do you want to talk about some of the good stuff?
You mean Pinkle?
This guy is all over this thing. What is Pinkle's job? Like, I understand having varying freelance positions, but like, what the hell? So he's an insurance agent. He is a pine weasel activist, I guess you could say, and a choreographer.
We're paying you to be here, David L. Lander. You'll be whatever we want you to be. This is Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley, or Principal Squigman.
Of course.
From Scary Movie.
As you may know him better.
Who I love. Hello. The pine weasel. I love the way, there's something about the way he says L's. I love the way that this man speaks. I love his look. It's like having John Lovitz running around.
Oh, God, get out of here. He wishes. It is not like having John Lovitz around.
Jealous. I love...
John Lovitz is in a class all his own.
That's true. I just love seeing Squiggy. I really do. I have a fondness for Squiggy that is probably unreasonable. But his name is Pinkle.
That's wonderful.
His name is Pinkle.
Yeah, his name is Pinkle, and he's all over this thing.
He's everywhere.
Shocking.
He's doing every job they need him to do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hello. It's Pinkle. Sorry, so what was the other good thing besides Pinkle?
No, I was gonna say we could do some commercials and then talk about good stuff.
Oh wow, are we already that far into the show?
Yeah, unless there's anything off the top that you want to talk about that's also obviously terrible. We can also revisit. It doesn't have to be that rigid, but
I know. I just think we're gonna need to talk about the finale, which we haven't even touched on.
Yep.
And then we've got to open it up to,
of course,
series spoilers. So before we take a break, can I just rattle off some of the other plot lines just to address them, and then you give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. We'll do a speed round.
Sure.
Is that okay? Okay. So Lucy and Andy are in a love triangle with Dick. Dick adopts a little boy who he calls Little Nicky, who may be the son of the devil.
Halfway, I like that Little Nicky dresses like Dick, but tiny.
Okay, very good.
What about you? How do you feel?
I think it's a waste of time. As much as I like Dick Tremaine too, which is a shock to me that I like Dick Tremaine as much as I do.
I do too.
Okay. Pinkle is back. We covered that. Okay. Catherine Martell has a puzzle. Her brother is alive, who was said to have been killed, and they find a puzzle box that they need to open. They're trying to open it and scheme of some
The whole thing, thumbs down.
What a waste of everyone's time.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable. We'll stay with that clan, though, because this is a big one. Josie with Sheriff Harry S. Truman. Is she really a killer from overseas? And she kills one of the conspirators with Catherine Martell, whatever. But then the big matzo ball is that she dies of fear, essentially, Josie.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, Bob returns. Where is Bob? He comes out when Josie kills a man, which I think speaks very much to what is Bob, the evil that men do. I think that being killing and all that stuff, it's like catnip to Bob. It brings Bob back. And even the man from another place is dancing on the bed.
Right.
As Josie dies, and then all of a sudden her spirit gets trapped in a drawer pull of a nightstand dresser and turns into a disgusting, embarrassing CGI face.
Totally. I see these as almost two separate things. The entire Josie storyline as a whole, basically when Josie breaks bad, then I'm done with the whole thing. Josie is just kind of like a character in Twin Peaks in season 1, and the beginning of season 2 is fine, Josie's whatever, but I really don't care about Josie and any sort of dealings with Thomas Eckart and Jonathan and everything. That gets a thumbs down. The Josie death scene and all of a sudden Bob being there and the man from another place and stuff. Oh, what's going on here? Then I'm kind of interested.
Okay, very well.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I think I'm largely on the same page as you. Something that bugs me but doesn't matter is that the first shot of anything Twin Peaks is Josie.
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror at herself and looking mysterious. Yeah. And kind of mugging. And it's well, Josie really is.
And they do kind of a callback to it in her last episode.
Oh yeah, you're right. But she turns out to be fairly immaterial to anything that anyone actually cares about. It's she is not the first image of this show, really. Weird. She literally is the first shot, but that first shot has zero implication to me of what Twin Peaks really is at all.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it leads to this, truncated storyline of Sheriff Harry S. Truman mourning Josie and getting drunk at the...
Oh, that sucked. At the beginning of that episode, I was like, oh, great. Now we have a dark Truman saga to deal with.
The dark Truman saga where he's yelling a lot, but it never looks right.
No, it sure doesn't.
I like this performer, Michael Onkeen, I think his name is, but he is not good at playing aggressive. Nah. He's good at playing sort of chummy and bewildered. and maybe a straight
really
man.
Selling it.
He's not. It's pretty rough stuff.
Yeah.
Lana.
Ugh.
Lana and the Milford brothers. Lana Budding Milford, who marries old men and kills them.
No, not for me.
I like the mayor.
The mayor.
Is this thing on?
It's okay. In small doses. Yeah, that's fun.
I like him.
That's fun, but not
his
not
brother
whole
is
stretches.
His brother is Dougie Milford, who becomes an enormously important character.
Yes.
Enormously important in the books.
Yeah.
The
crucial.
later Mark Frost books.
Yeah, which I love.
John Justice Wheeler. Billy Zane.
I like his looks. I like his outfits. So many turtlenecks. So many shoulder pads.
So many lips.
Overall,
I feel like Billy Zane has a lot of
yeah.
lips and eyebrows.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of them.
Overall, don't need.
Yeah. I agree. Gordon Cole can hear Shelley.
Fun. Love.
What
Great.
is that?
I don't know. I have no idea. Just a fun bit of weirdness.
Is it just that David Lynch loves beautiful women?
Yes, I think that is all it is. And that I think he even said that it was a way for him to kiss.
That ain't right.
No, it's not good.
That ain't
way
right.
for him to kiss Mädchen Amick.
That ain't good. Take a good look, Sonny. It's going to happen again.
I do love that.
When he kisses Mädchen Amick a second time. Here's a big one that I don't ultimately, Denise. Denise and the fight with Jean Renault, the big bad to the north.
Yeah. I mean, I love Denise and that whole thing with Jean Renault and everything. I guess I don't have strong feelings.
I like that performer.
Yeah,
I like
I
Michael
do
Parks.
too.
There's like an intensity to him that I appreciate. But like, it's just the end of the
Right.
war with the Canadian brothel people.
Just kind of wrapping it up.
But Denise,
it's insane that they let Denise in. It's crazy
Oh,
that they
yeah.
were having a standoff and they were like, ha ha ha, they're sending pancakes.
yeah, that is crazy.
What?
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Take a smart character and all of a sudden just have them. Why would you let someone into your police standoff?
Totally.
Doesn't this seem like it was the writing
Fishy?
was on the wall?
Yeah.
But so Denise is a trans FBI agent, and part of the big thing that people seem to really love about Denise actually comes in season 3.
Yes.
Which admittedly is pretty solid.
Yeah.
And this isn't really a spoiler for season 3. There's a whole scene. Now, remember, we're talking about season 2 where David Lynch has left this world behind.
Right.
All of a sudden, David Lynch puts himself in a scene with Denise.
Yes.
Where he says, I told those clowns that had issues with
clown
you,
comics.
those clown comics, to fix their hearts or die if they didn't like Denise.
Right.
And that has become like a huge rallying cry, which I think is really great. Fix your hearts or die is wonderful.
Yeah.
He wasn't here in season 2. So is he really responsible for the creation of Denise in the first place?
I don't know.
Now, I was minorly, I was kind of interested to see like what is the perspective on Denise, and it does seem like many things. There's like a whole spectrum of people's opinion.
Yes.
Denise is a trans character who's played by a cis man, David Duchovny, and some people are like, well, it was the 90s. It was representation. Quite frankly, it was on the whole. What a lot of people seem to say is that overall, it was very positive. Dale Cooper in particular is just like, very good. Good to meet you, Denise.
Yeah.
But some of the other cops like have like little asides or little looks or whatever.
Yeah.
But people seem like I looked at like I have a few articles that I'll have in the show notes from thefinalgirls.co.uk and The Advocate and a whole Reddit thread of like other trans folks. What do you think of Denise?
Yeah.
And I think by and large everything has been very net positive.
Yep.
But there are enough people that are like, Twin Peaks was a show that was also kind of like saying like, look at odd people. And it's unclear if it was also presenting Denise as like a strange person. I just thought that was kind of interesting. But for the 90s to like have a character who was very capable, it's fascinating.
Yeah, no, it is. Also, I think that Audrey's reaction to Denise is kind of a positive thing. She just sees her and is like, there are female FBI agents and doesn't make a thing of it.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
But yeah.
It's just interesting. Very interesting. A different world.
Totally.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Fix your hearts or die.
Yeah.
I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, why don't we do it? Because everything else that I have is going to really touch on the end game of like the real like the grisly kind of like horror and the villain and what happens to Cooper.
Yeah. All right, cool. So first, let's make sure you know about the grisliness, the horror that's going on over at patreon.com/GTTUpod. This is where you can go if you would like to support the show. This is our small business, and we have a bunch of different tiers that you can check out and see what works for you. And when you support us on these tiers, you get episodes of our weekly podcast, The Netherworld Dispatch, back in return at different intervals, depending on what works for you. Our most popular tier is our Demon tier, and that's where you get weekly episodes of The Netherworld Dispatch. You also get ad-free Guides to the Unknown, so you don't have any commercials to fast forward through. You don't have this to fast forward through. That's a nice thing. There's Discord access, movie commentaries, newsletters, a monthly paranormal television recap show called Dead Time that Liz Sauer of Ghosts in the Burbs and I do. It's just a really cool thing over at Patreon, so go check it out. And thank you so much to everybody who already does. There's a whole great group of people over there, and we appreciate you so much, so thank you.
It cannot be overstated. It's a bona fide community.
Yeah.
A little universe.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Of our own spooky vibe.
Yeah.
Scary, fun vibe. The most recent episode of The Netherworld Dispatch is episode 219. You can unlock so many shows. If you sign up today, you unlock all the old stuff, as well as stuff going forward. We called it Cyber Visiting the Dark Universe.
Oh, yeah.
There's a new theme park in Florida. The Epic Universe. Everything is, it becomes so redundant. Universe. Universal Studios has the Epic Universe, and within the Epic Universe is the Dark Universe.
Yeah.
Where the Invisible Man is walking around.
Yep.
Goes, pleased to see me. Like walks up to you. Or more importantly, as we discovered in this episode, folks go to this park, get their cameras out and walk up to all the performers and go, hey Frankenstein, you ever see, what do you think of Zelda? You have a Nintendo Switch?
Which is great for our purposes, because then we get to watch it from the comfort of our homes.
It's like hassle the performers. Yeah, but we got to see everything. We got to see the environments. We got to see one of the dark rides. Super fun. Go check that out. Cyber Visiting the Dark Universe. We'd love to read reviews. I have a sweetie here from AdKemps134. Fashionably late, they title it.
Ooh.
I think everyone's on time. There's the best time to start listening to Guide to the Unknown today.
Now.
Immediately. Just started listening to this podcast. Way late to the party, but ecstatic I came. 5 stars.
Wonderful.
Boom.
Thank you so much. Short and sweet. Happy to have you here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much to everybody who leaves us reviews. It really means a ton to us. It really helps us out. And if you haven't done it already, we would love it if you did, and we'll read it on the show. So you can leave us a written review like that on Apple Podcasts. You can leave us a starred review on Spotify. But yeah, just anywhere you can leave a review. We would really love it if you did. So thank you.
And to button up something from last week, we didn't get any negative reviews for what we said.
Yeah, thank you so much. Some people left us really nice comments on Instagram. So
it was very sweet. Yeah. Forget fix your hearts and die. What's our phrase?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Fix your butts and
live. Fix your butts and live. That's our community.
That's right.
We're all on the same page here.
Actually, I think everybody's butts are fine.
Congratulations on your butts, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, we've got one final commercial break before we get into the end game of season 2, at least, and a nudge at what comes in the future.
Yes. Here we go. Whoa, that was weird.
All right.
Okay.
So Wyndham Earl, I think this is the story that really is...
Yes.
Should be the call to action.
Yeah.
It should be like the thing.
Right.
Right?
Right. What are your feelings on old Wyndham?
I like Wyndham Earl.
I do too.
I do. I like the MO, modus operandi of a killer who has like this like a rigid thing that he's doing.
Yeah, I do too.
I like that he's frustrated.
A killer with a shtick. We've called it in the past.
Yes, he wants to play chess with Cooper. He was Cooper's former partner. They always played chess together. Cooper never successfully beat him.
Yeah.
And now Wyndham Earl is making all these chess moves and sending Cooper his moves, and Cooper has to respond with what his move will be back by putting it in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And every time that Wyndham Earl takes a piece, he kills someone.
Yeah.
In real life. I think that's great.
I do too.
I think that is very, very solid. I think that because Twin Peaks is structured as this, ensemble of ill-fitting, quirky stories, I think that Wyndham Earl is treated with the same importance as Nadine going to high school.
Yes, totally. I think he gets lost in the mix a little bit. I don't know why he doesn't become more central once he's introduced, because he comes in with such a bang. It's so exciting. Like well, first of all, I guess the concept of him is introduced in a more subtle way. They get like a note from him or something like that. But when Wyndham Earl really kicks off his hijinks, it's very exciting. Like he sets some fires or something that cause the power to go out. So it's like, oh my God, what is happening here? There's like a big deal thing. But then he ends up being somewhat in the background.
Yes.
Like it doesn't sustain that same sort of like energy.
No, I totally agree. And then when we even finally get to really spend time with him, he's wearing like a beige one-piece underwear and blowing into a little pan flute.
Okay. Couple things about that. First of all, they integrated the pan flute into the soundtrack. So you hear soundtrack like you're used to hearing. There's like an interstitial probably of, I don't know, the trees blowing and like a synthy sound. You're like, okay, great. You realize that synthy sound is Wyndham Earl blowing into a pan flute. And you're like, I'm sorry, it's making that sound?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Also,
we know you don't like a little wooden flute.
I don't have a problem with a wooden flute. I have problems with windwood in specific instances that I won't drive home too hard right now.
You got me in
I also
trouble.
don't want to be annoying, so I'm going to tell the audience what we're referring to.
You got me in trouble with one of the creators of Blair Witch.
Yeah.
God damn you.
In the Blair Witch, whatever they're called, the TV specials, there is incessant woodwind playing over everyone talking.
Yeah.
And I remarked on it, and one of the creators reached
the
out
director, Ben Rock, said, your sister doesn't seem to like my work. And I just wrote, listen, I'm sorry. We're telling it like how we feel.
Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you.
I can't help myself.
I very much like Ben Rock. But listen.
I do too.
Our integrity is impenetrable. On Guide to the Unknown, we run our mouths.
Gotta tell
maybe a little too much.
The people how I feel. Okay, so Wyndham Earl's onesie. Did you notice anything unique about it?
It looked discolored to me.
It was discolored, and it had a surprising feature. There's a weird crack running where your ass crack is.
Oh, that's not, that's not a bug, that's a feature.
I know, but why is it like that? I've never seen one like that. I know.
Yeah.
So, like Union Jack suits or whatever, there would be like a square...
Isn't the Union Jack the British flag?
Oh, yeah. What is it, a Union
What's
suit?
with you with all these enemies to our way of life? The Confederacy and now the Redcoats? My God, man. My God.
Maybe I'm a secret mole.
Maybe.
No, whatever. It's a Union suit where there's like a square over your ass for you to unbutton for your poop or whatever.
Ass flap. Yeah, poop flap.
Yeah, poop flap. Okay, Wyndham Earl's onesie has like a flap running right where your ass crack is.
Yeah.
So you can just spread that over your ass. That's crazy. I've never seen that before.
I have issues with the ass flap too. You're telling me you're too busy to just take your Union suit off your shoulders and pull it down to your knees? You have to cut open a hole near your butt to poop?
I totally agree.
Ripe for contamination.
That's absolutely. Oh, absolutely. That's insane. And people who decide to wear onesies and rompers have to deal with pulling the whole thing down all the time. Look, it's not ideal, but we can do it. This crack,
Why'd
this
you say
ass
we?
crack.
You're part of this community of onesie wearers?
Yeah. I don't have one right now, but I have.
I'm not against a onesie. I've looked into getting long underwear.
Yeah.
I have.
I even mean like for your performance clothes.
I'm just afraid I would look like the Penguin at the end of Batman Returns.
That's basically what this is, except I think that's one of the most insane design things I've seen in a while.
Yeah, the ass flap would at least fold down entirely, but just having to pull apart... Yeah.
It doesn't mirror your own ass under there.
I'm sure it does.
Like, have a little dignity.
What are you talking about?
No, the ass flap doesn't. This does.
Oh, yeah.
This is your crack.
They may as well have like sewn nipples onto the front of it. It's like your suit, your clothes need to mirror your actual anatomy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Crazy.
Bodysuit man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. But
I like
But no, I do like Wyndham Earl.
I like Wyndham Earl until this doesn't make me not like him, but when they try to portray him as a sort of folksy, folkloric figure, like when he's playing his pan flute and he's sitting on rubbish.
Yes.
And he has his knees pulled tight together. He just like why are you trying to evoke some sort of Pied Piper hundreds of years ago imagery of this man? He was an FBI agent. He's an evil Dale Cooper.
Yeah, they're putting Pan imagery onto him, like he's a trickster.
Yes, right.
I don't know. I don't really know. I had kind of forgotten how wed Leo is to Wyndham Earl, and I don't really love all that stuff, even though I complimented his performance, and I stand by that. I don't love him like shot collaring Leo, feeding Leo gruel. I could live without all this. Kissing him on the side of the head.
Yes. Like treating Leo like he's a dog. So the whole thing with Wyndham Earl was that he was married to a woman named Caroline.
Yeah.
Cooper and Caroline fell in love with each other.
Right.
And out of that betrayal, Wyndham Earl murdered Caroline and lost his mind.
Yeah.
And is now seeking to get revenge on Cooper.
Or pretended to lose his mind. Cooper keeps saying he's like he feigned madness so that whatever. But I mean, it could also, if you're doing that, aren't you kind of mad anyway?
Yeah, I would say that.
Whatever.
Yeah, but is that what made him lose his mind, or was he always kind of bug nuts?
Right.
And now he's keeping Leo like a pet. With a shock collar. The one sad thing is when Leo tries to fight back.
Yes.
And tries to zap Wyndham Earl, not realizing that the zapper will zap himself.
Right.
But he does it a second time too. That is very sad.
I don't like it.
I don't know what happened to Leo.
Upsets me.
Leo is...
He's gone.
Bye-bye. He's flown the coop.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, in terms of where we leave characters, we will never see Leo again.
Right.
Where Leo is left forever in Twin Peaks is that Wyndham Earl has rigged a contraption of a string and pulleys, and the end of the string is in Leo's mouth. He has to keep his teeth clamped down. Otherwise, he will let loose the string, and a box full of spiders will land on him.
Yeah.
And that is the condition Leo is left in forever.
Yeah.
He's never seen again. Ever.
That's right.
It's bizarre.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Probably best for Shelley.
Now, Wyndham Earl playing chess and taking pawns and killing people. Again, not to rewrite everything in the world. You've got a universe of Twin Peaks that already has too many characters, and now you keep introducing more like John Justice Wheeler and all these new characters, whatever. Couldn't Wyndham Earl's pawns be some of these people?
Yes, definitely.
Why does it need to be...
And then it would give it stakes. Yeah, why is it a random roadie for a band that we don't know about?
Yeah, Ted Raimi, who all of a sudden shows up doing like weird stoner guy.
Yeah, I know.
And gets murdered by Wyndham Earl. Wouldn't it be more...
Yes.
Wouldn't it be harsher if he did kill Leo? And now everyone's like, well, we hated him, but we didn't want him to be murdered.
Right.
And he should be killing some of the way too many characters that we have here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why not.
Twin Peaks has too many characters.
Oh, yeah. No, it already had a lot of characters, but it was balancing them well in season 1 and part 1 of season 2.
Yeah, season 2 of Twin Peaks has too many characters.
Overstuffed.
Good point.
With characters in the second half. It's so bonkers.
Yes.
Okay, something I love about season 2. Do you have other things about Wyndham Earl? I don't really.
Only when we get to like the red.
Yeah. I really enjoy all the stuff with like Major Briggs and the cave and all this kind of stuff. I love it.
Yeah, it was very Lost before Lost.
Yeah.
They go to Owl Cave. And even Major Briggs gets this like importance that we'll see continue of like he disappears in a flash of light and then reappears a day later.
I opened my phone to get my notes again, and Wyndham Earl's zoomed in on ass was on my phone. I'm
That's
back.
your new background. Major Briggs starts to become, they start getting into this Project Blue Book stuff, which was the real life, actual bona fide real. We've talked about it on Guide to the Unknown before, where like the government and the Air Force, everyone was reporting these UFO sightings.
Right.
And so it was the investigation of interviewing pilots. Garland Briggs now says that even though Project Blue Book was discontinued, there are some of us who have continued this good work. And so Garland Briggs is tied to this. Now Twin Peaks is starting to get into this, like they even say it in this season, so it's not a spoiler for the future. But he had been monitoring outer space messages, and he had picked up on a message that said Cooper. They then say in this chunk of episodes that broadcast did not come from outer space, it came from in the woods.
Right.
And Garland Briggs and especially Hawk start talking about the Black Lodge and the White Lodge. They're almost essentially, to like ultra simplify, it's like hell or heaven.
Yeah.
You have to go through the Black Lodge to get to the White Lodge. You have to go through hell to get to heaven.
Yep.
But Hawk says that when you go through the Black Lodge, you will meet your shadow self, referred to as the dweller on the threshold. You'll have to confront an evil version of yourself to actually push through to the White Lodge. It's now theorized through Garland Briggs and Hawk and all this stuff in Owl Cave, which is a literal cave in Twin Peaks with these carvings on the wall and everything, and a weird lever that you can turn.
Yeah, I don't
also
really
very
understand.
lost.
Yeah.
It has this image of like a diamond-shaped thing with two little antlers.
It's supposed to be like an owl.
Yeah. And Wyndham Earl is essentially trying to get to the White Lodge.
Yeah.
He's trying to attain...
Well, he's trying to get to the Black Lodge.
True, because the Black Lodge is the evil world, so he wants to get all this power.
Yeah.
And so we got to stop Wyndham Earl from getting ultimate power or whatever. But also... hey, is the Black Lodge where Bob came from? So all of these very disparate things do start to coalesce here. But I love going into a cave. I love a spooky cave, everybody.
Of course.
I was a big fan of Lost. I love seeing a big, crazy image drawn on a surface that we now need to riddle out.
I know.
And that was here.
Did you know the difference between a hieroglyph and a petroglyph?
Of course not.
A hieroglyph is something that is painted or drawn onto a wall. A petroglyph is carved.
That's interesting. Well, I like that. All right,
Yep.
so it's a petroglyph. It was carved in.
Yep.
And so Garland Briggs disappears, comes back with some sort of like a weird thing of triangles on his neck. It turns out the log lady had been abducted when she was 7, and she has a similar sort of tattoo on the back of her leg. And if you combine those tattoos, it creates the image of Owl Cave's symbol.
Yep. And you know what I appreciated when Major Briggs and the log lady realize that they have the same scar, and they're talking about their experiences, and they're relaying them to like Cooper and Truman and stuff. Garland Briggs says, we all 3 recall the light. And he means the log lady and her log and him.
Oh, really? I thought he was talking about Cooper, because Cooper was there when he disappeared.
Oh, maybe.
I love the acceptance, but to your point, though.
Maybe.
But to your point, I think...
I thought he was being reverent to Margaret and her log.
He could have been. I thought he was talking about Cooper, but...
yeah, that could be.
I do love the acceptance that people have to each other's idiosyncrasies. Yeah. The log lady has a log that she talks to. Okay. Yeah. All right. Who's she hurting?
Right, totally.
You know, I like that. But so Cooper realizes, and it takes too long, that... you can get to the Red Room through Glastonbury Grove, which is a bunch of sycamore trees in a circle around a puddle of this black ooze.
They get to that in the craziest way. Does this make sense in a way that I didn't understand or something? Okay. The way that they figure out where the Black Lodge is that Pete is pissed because the log lady stole his truck. But that's actually Wyndham Earl.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. It's Wyndham Earl dressed like the log lady. And he's like... it had 12 rainbow trout in the back. And then Harry is like, 12. There are 12 sycamores in the woods. It's known as, I have it all written down. He's like, that's known as Glaston. Okay, Harry goes 12 sycamores, tells Cooper that there's a place in the woods with a circle of 12 sycamores, Glastonbury Grove. And then Coop is like, ooh, the legendary burial place of King Arthur, Glastonbury. We have to go there. That's what it is. Why would that be the Black Lodge?
Especially because in the petroglyph, there's a drawing of the puddle of black ooze surrounded by trees.
They don't say that, though.
But they get to it because Pete had 12 rainbow trout.
And because it seems like Glastonbury Grove is like, oh, King Arthur. Oh, we've been talking about King Arthur this whole time. But they haven't.
And also Pete goes, King Arthur is buried in England.
Right.
I love Pete.
I do too.
Jack Nance, I really love his like one big eye. I love that performance. I love how strange that man is. But you're totally right. It is like there are other ways to have arrived at the grouping of trees.
It was crazy.
It is the craziest way to get there. And the log lady has some of that black ooze in a jar. She says her husband brought it home for her. And it is said to be the burned motor oil smelling ooze that was smelled at the murder of Laura Palmer. They even bring back Ronette Pulaski, the other victim who survived, to confirm that, this is the stuff. This burned motor oil, which I think is also supposed to be a double for coffee.
Oh, okay.
Right? Another
Maybe.
like black
Yeah.
caustic
Yeah.
liquid, whatever. But so you get to the Red Room.
Yeah.
Which is now, I think, well, the Man from Another Place when Cooper goes, because Wyndham Earle brings Annie.
Right.
We didn't even mention Annie. Annie is Heather Graham, who has joined the show to become Cooper's love interest. And now Wyndham Earle, because love interest, he's like, oh, I'm going to kill love interest.
Totally, yeah.
So he takes her to the Red Room. And he gets there before Coop, which I think makes a significant difference in Wyndham Earle's powers in there. I think by the time that Coop comes in, it's as if Wyndham Earle has been in there for years or something. Because Cooper gets in there and he sees the very famous zigzagged black and white floor, the red curtains, the 2 seats, and the 1 chair that he sits in, and the Man from Another Place dances in.
Yeah.
And then this song that I can't get out of my head. And I'll see you. And you'll see me. It's like very bizarre. David Lynch directed this episode, by the way, to like close out the season, which is why a lot of people feel that this show sort of stuck the landing. Because he made it as weird as could be.
Yes. It's so strange. At one point when I was watching it, there were just a lot of scenes of Kyle MacLachlan with like tons of. Also, there's like a lot of strobing and strobe lights in this episode. I was like, I could do with less of this. I get it, but blah. But there's just like strobing flashing on his face. And I was like, this is a crazy thing to be on ABC.
It's insane. It's an absolutely insane thing.
Because it looks so creepy and cool, but also so weird. And they're doing it repeatedly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what a weird thing.
Yes.
The lead in for Twin Peaks, I was looking up like what was happening on TV. I couldn't get a beat on for season 2 what would be lead-ins to Twin Peaks, because they moved it all over the place. It started on Monday nights. They moved it to, or no, maybe it's, I'm going to mix up. It moved around. It was like on Monday nights, Thursday nights, Saturday nights, Sundays. Like that's part of why it did so badly. Yeah. It was just like a big combination of things that like wasn't very good. So they moved it around, and they also moved it around because it wasn't very good. Right. So whatever. But so I wasn't sure if it's lead-in, but it's lead-in in season 1 was the Father like Brown Mysteries with Tom Bosley. Father Downing Mysteries, I think it was.
So like cozy, safe.
Yeah.
And then you get to some weird, surrealist, trippy ass.
Yeah.
Strobe light craziness. Yeah. We've never seen the Red Room with this like lights flashing on and off thing. Watching it this time, I was like, well, that was how Wyndham Earle disoriented everybody at the Roadhouse.
Yes,
to even kidnap awesome. Annie. Like, I wonder if that's part of Wyndham Earle.
What's it called? The Great Northern.
The Great Northern. I wonder if that's how Wyndham Earle sort of affected the Red Room. Is like he came in with
that's interesting.
With a bloated ego and a belief that he should attain the power in the Red Room now, and he basically turned it into this like disorienting strobe light hellscape for Cooper by the time that he comes in. I have no basis for this.
That's a cool thought.
I just think that strobe lights have been associated. I mean, first of all, Twin Peaks is all about electricity. Like a lot of the spirits seem to travel through electricity and stuff, all the way back to the pilot with the fluorescent bulbs going in and out. And now Wyndham Earle is associated with turning the lights off.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the Red Room acts the same as well. It just feels very Wyndham Early to me.
By the way, I loved that scene when he comes in at the pageant to steal her away and everything, and he's dressed like the log lady.
Yeah.
I think he's super scary in that scene.
He's very scary.
Like where the lights are flashing on and off, strobing. He's just like smiling, looking insane, dressed like the log lady. I find it super creepy and great.
I totally
Cooper
agree.
is completely ineffectual during that scene. I don't know what the hell he's thinking. I don't know why he doesn't jump on the stage and do anything. He's basically walking back and forth.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But so all of a sudden, the Man from Another Place, I think, refers to the Red Room that we've seen as the waiting room, which is semi-significant.
Yep.
And we see the old man waiter, who appears to now be one and the same with the giant. So, like, there's this weird Laura Palmer. Everyone comes back.
Yeah, Maddie.
Maddie is in this scene as Cooper's lost in the Red Room. Laura Palmer is back.
Leland Palmer, who
says, I never killed anybody. And is smiling at Cooper. Like,
looking nuts.
How do you get rid of Ray Wise? How do you not use him?
So in that featurette I watched about the making of season 2, he was talking about how how upset he was when he found out that he was going to be the killer, because he didn't want to leave. He knew that he was going to be off the show now. And I was just like, yeah, absolutely. This sucks.
Why do you need to be off the show? Why couldn't he have become the new face of the evil? Like maybe Bob should have shapeshifted and now it's not Bob. It looks like Leland or something. Like whatever. You find a way to keep him around. He's just too good.
Totally.
But so here's what happens from my vantage point. Wyndham Earl, I mean, literally says to Cooper, I will spare Annie's life if you give me your soul.
Right.
Like Wyndham Earl has a really inflated sense of what he can accomplish here. And Cooper says, I will. Wyndham Earl stabs Cooper, but then Bob, drawn to this evil and everything, reverses time, unstabs Cooper, and says to Wyndham Earl, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take your soul as a punishment. And then flames shoot out of the top of Wyndham Earl's head, and he's dead. He's gone. And then Bob is laughing at Cooper and summons essentially a doppelganger of Cooper now. We've had this doppelganger imagery, whatever. I think even the little man says doppelganger or whatever. And so this is my interpretation now. I think that the doppelganger of Cooper was created by taking Wyndham Earl's soul. And so another Kyle MacLachlan runs through the curtains with white, scary eyes. And then you get this bizarre chase scene through the trippy Red Room world. And a lot of footstep sound effects. Just clicking shoes.
Absolutely.
Clicking shoes on hard floor as Cooper tries to run away and gets grabbed by his doppelganger. And then you wake up in Glastonbury Grove. Annie is there with blood all over her face, kind of looking like Ben Horn on the ground. And Cooper is out of the Red Room, leading to the ultimate season series finale that lasted for 25 years. Cooper wakes up in his hotel room at the Great Northern and says he needs to brush his teeth.
Yeah.
But when he goes into the bathroom, he squeezes all the toothpaste into the sink kind of insanely.
Yeah.
And looks in the mirror, and Bob is looking back at him.
Yep.
And Cooper slams his face into the glass, shatters the glass, cuts his own forehead.
Even the way he does it is awesome. Like, he just rams his whole body into it. It's kind of hard to explain, but just everything is so strange and otherworldly and like not how people act. It's not even like his body is still and he just like rears his head back and slams it. He just takes his whole body like a battering ram and slams it all into the mirror.
Yep. And when Bob is possessing you, Leland always saw Bob in the mirror. Cooper's now seeing Bob in the mirror. Is he the bad guy? And like you said, the last lines of the show is he's giggling maniacally. How's Annie? How's Annie? How's Annie?
It is so good. Just the way he's speaking is so unlike the way that Cooper speaks. It's so clear that he's like something else.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
What now? You watched this show way before me. I never felt the pain of the 25-year gap.
Yeah.
What was this like?
It sucked. I mean, it wasn't 25 years for me. I guess it was, I don't know how long. Like, I don't know, really long time though. But like, yeah, I was like, oh God damn it. I knew that, it had ended because I watched it. Let me guess. I'm going to say
we would have been too young. You would have been like 7
it.
years old or something when this aired.
Yeah. I watched it in my early 20s, and then I guess it came back. I think I watched it 10 years after it happened or something. So I guess I had to wait, I'm going to guess 15 years or something like that. Yeah. But anyway, I knew that it ended on a cliffhanger and that you just never knew what happened afterward. So I was prepared for that. I didn't know what the cliffhanger was or anything. But I just remember being like, oh man, like indeed this does suck, as everybody has said.
It is totally crazy to take the Boy Scout good guy and reveal that now no one knows, but the murderer is back in his form.
Totally. And I really like your idea about the doppelganger being created as the result of Wyndham Earl dying. I just always thought that everybody kind of has a doppelganger shadow self in there.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody has some sort of dweller on the threshold. And like Hawk says that if you approach the Black Lodge with imperfect courage, you're not going to be able to make your way through. And that I guess I figured like that you need that perfect courage to possibly face your doppelganger in there and make it through or whatever.
Sure.
But I like the idea of Wyndham Earl and Cooper being maybe like two sides of the same messed up coin.
Yeah.
And so that evil being created from Wyndham Earl's soul being free to like manifest in this bizarro Cooper.
Yeah, that's certainly how I took it this time. Yeah, I don't know if that has any weight at all, or if it holds to even things that we've seen later.
That's also the thing about this whole show is that it's
all
fun.
Interpretation. Yes. Yeah, it's just certainly how I took it this time.
Yeah.
I even being like there's a dweller on the thread, like things that Hawk says about the belief of the Black Lodge or whatever, it's like similar to Blair Witch. It's like anytime a person speaks about the paranormal thing, I always take it with a big grain of sand. Because how can anyone know for sure?
Totally.
So it could be the interpretation because people have seen doppelgangers come out, whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it just looked like a one-to-one to me.
I mean, he comes out right after.
Right after.
So that makes sense.
And especially, like, what is Bob? This is a thing that I will always be confused about, even knowing the future, is like, what is Bob and what relationship does Bob have to the doppelgangers? Are they almost like the children of Bob? Why is it that the Cooper doppelganger grabs Cooper, but then he sees Bob in the mirror?
Right.
Like it's like
I know.
I think the doppelgangers are Bob.
Right. There's some sort of extension of or something. I know.
Yeah, they're sort of like almost like making a copy of Bob.
Yep.
Or something like that. They're not like there is maybe the ultimate actual evil thing itself, but then it can create little offshoots of itself, and that's those doppelgangers or whatever.
Yes.
But even like
crazy show.
Yeah, it's totally bonkers. It's a great finale. It also has very famously when Cooper's in the Red Room and he sees Laura Palmer, she says, "I'll see you again in 25 years," which at the time I think was only meant to button up in season 1 when they did that like flash forward thing and he sees Cooper, or he's got like bad like an old man makeup.
Yeah, just has Elmer's glue all over his face that dried.
So for 1991, they were just trying to explain why there was that old man scene in season 1. But in real life now, they did come back 25 years later.
Do you know it was 26? Basically
I
25.
I know.
I always thought it was actual 25.
I think it's closer to 27 too. But yeah, listen, that's pretty damn good.
That is the coolest thing. I lost my mind when that happened.
I know.
I lost my mind. I still think that is so incredibly cool.
Oh
my God.
I know.
My God.
It's fantastic.
I know.
Now, it's 25 years in the world of Twin Peaks. In real life, it was 27 years. But for the characters, it was probably 25 years on the dot.
Yeah, right.
But unusual in the extreme to have actually come back.
Unbelievably. And think about how many people actually came back. So many people who you see in this show, like in this season 2, are in season 3. We won't dwell on it. We'll get to it later. But like even just like Major Briggs' wife is in season 3.
Yep. But this is where we say goodbye to Jack Nance.
Yep.
As Pete Martell. Well, sort of. But he's last seen exploding at the bank.
Yes.
He dies, according to some of the books. Catherine Martell and her hangers-on. Rest in peace, Mr. Tajimura.
Yes.
This is the last time we see them. Josie, Sheriff Truman.
Yeah.
We'll never see again.
I know. I love Sheriff Truman.
Dick Tremaine.
Yep.
I believe is gone.
Yes.
Leo is gone.
Yes.
Donna is gone. Wyndham Earl is gone. Annie is gone. John Justice Wheeler is gone.
Did you? I didn't find chemistry between Annie and Cooper.
No, she seems very young to me.
Yeah, totally.
And just came in too late in the game and didn't have much of a character to her or something. Annie. There's
they
like
didn't like gel to me.
There's the cliche of like the damsel in distress kind of thing. They're really sort of trying to paint the notion that like Laura Palmer is Catherine, who was, Wyndham Earl's wife, is Annie, is all of these women that Cooper has tried and failed to save. But Laura Palmer just happens to be the crazy supernatural one. Question mark. No more Hank. Hank gets put in jail.
Who the F? Oh, yeah. Hank.
Norma's husband, Hank. And I put a question mark here. No more Pinkle?
Or does it remain to be seen?
Oh, man, I hope.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't recall, but...
What if there's a Pinkle spinoff?
God, I'll be staring in the background looking for Pinkle in any shot of season 3.
Wait, William, what if Pinkle is in season 3?
That'd be awesome.
Could we have just not... Like,
there's
I feel like we've become much more squiggy aware in the last. I mean, actually,
my squiggy awareness is
I'm
off
sorry.
the charts.
I should say me.
Yeah, thank you.
I've become more squiggy aware because of him being in Scary Movie. Me finding out that you like love Squiggy. I had no idea you had these feelings until I said something about him in Scary Movie, and you like loved him.
That's Principal Squigman. God damn it! Put some respect on his name.
So for all I know, maybe he is in season 3.
I highly doubt it because I've seen season 3. But it won't stop me from hoping he's there this time.
Right.
When I watch it, maybe they've edited him back in. Put Pinkle back in the show, the Pinkle cut, the Pinkle version.
Oh my God.
But so many people do come back.
They sure do.
I've written down 24 characters who will return from seasons
awesome.
1 and 2, which is unbelievable.
Even if it's just for a minute.
The last thing that I want to say before well, actually, why don't we screw it?
Yeah.
Let's do our final.
Yes, open it up.
Let's open it up. All right. We've talked about season 2 in connection with season 1.
Yeah.
We are about to talk about season 2 in connection with the entire franchise, including season 3.
Yeah.
So this is like the last spoiler warning, as we're going to talk about it.
Yep.
Things that you have not seen yet if you have not watched Fire Walk with Me or season 3.
Yep.
Here we go.
Here you go, babes. 3, 2, 1. She's an old woman.
Grace Zabriskie. The last time we see her,
Ultimate old woman.
David Lynch brought her back in the final episode to deliver a message to Garland Briggs. The last time we see Garland Briggs is sitting at the Double R diner with his wife, Happy.
Yeah.
But Grace Zabriskie comes in to deliver a message. Now, Sarah Palmer was sort of insinuated to be some version of paranormal psychic in seasons 1 and the first half of season 2. She speaks in a monster voice.
Yeah. Whose voice is she being?
The captions say it's Wyndham Earl.
They do?
They do. It's like a monster voice Wyndham Earl.
I don't think mine did.
It's speaking through her, which is part of the reason why I think that like Wyndham Earl going into the Red Room and then Cooper coming in even 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
I think for Wyndham Earl, he's experienced like a millennia in this place or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm in the Red. I'm in the Black Lodge with Agent Cooper.
Right.
And it's like, wow. So Sarah Palmer now can speak in tongues or be a vessel for this evil. What does that mean? But it actually does have reverberations into season 3.
Yeah.
Where we will learn that Sarah Palmer might be the human embodiment of the ultimate evil, Jowday.
That's right. Oh boy.
Judy. Which is the other thing I want to talk about.
Heavy lift.
In season 3, the heavy lift scene, the biggest retcon in the history of retcons, Gordon Cole goes, before Cooper went into the Red Room, he told me 2 birds with 1 stone. He was going after Jowday, the ultimate evil, or whatever. Right. So it's suggested that in the show we just watched,
yes,
at some point that's not shown to us, Cooper took Gordon Cole aside and said, I'm going to go into the Black Lodge.
Actually, I'm going after the ultimate evil.
Yeah.
And then that's what we watched happen just now.
That's what we just saw.
He seemed kind of unfocused.
He seemed very confused, Cooper. That irritates me.
No, it is annoying. Perhaps when you go into the Black Lodge, it scrambles your signals and you become unfocused. But no, that is irritating.
The only thing I can convince myself of is that in season 3 we will get into this idea of like rewriting history. That maybe a version of Cooper traveled back.
Okay.
And talked to Gordon Cole or something or whatever. But Cooper does not seem aware of.
No way.
Of the Blue Rose Mysteries, which will be introduced in the movie Fire Walk with Me. He doesn't seem aware that he's being taught everything about the Black Lodge.
Yeah, in real time.
Here, he already knows about Judy, Jowday.
There's no way.
There's no way. That is
it just simply doesn't work.
A gargantuan retcon that almost came off, even in the time, as cynical.
Yeah.
That David Lynch was like, fine, you want answers?
I'm about to say, eat this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, you've given me the least satisfying slop answer that I can imagine.
Right.
This is where it's like Mark Frost. Al told me this really interesting idea that like partnerships, the best partnerships have an expander and a contractor. Somebody who goes, all things are possible.
Yeah.
And then somebody goes, okay. But I know you're excited. Here's what we really should probably do. So somebody is always trying to stretch the bounds of something. And then somebody comes in and goes, well, let's focus back down. And somehow you end up back in the middle. Right?
Okay.
And I think David Lynch is the expander.
Yeah, I think that could be.
He's also the director of the thing of all of season 3. So he has essentially the final word.
Right.
But I think that Mark Frost's influence, especially when you get to those books, which you and I both greatly love.
I love them.
The
Secret History.
Secret History and the Final Dossier. Mark Frost is maybe too on the straight and narrow of conventional storytelling sci-fi.
Well, not really.
No?
No, not exactly, because they conflict with the show.
Yes, he conflicts with there are continuity issues, but I think that
Which
Mark
seem
Frost
intentional,
tells
though. Like
fairly,
it's not an accident, to be clear, but like that's very strange.
It is strange, but his story is relatively logical of the events, as I recall it. Whereas David Lynch's everything is feeling and interpretation, and
certainly more straightforward than that. Yes.
Yeah, and if he had a tummy ache that day, like
yes,
the
then you
characters,
could change everything.
Yeah, you change everything. And I think that that's kind of interesting, but it does feel like David Lynch was just like, fine, I will give the answer in one 5-minute scene where I lay everything out.
Yeah.
Chow Day is the villain of Twin Peaks.
Totally.
What?
Yeah, you want answers, then fine, I'll give you answers. And like it's kind of flippant in a way and whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wyndham Earl connections. Part of the reason why I was like, maybe Wyndham Earl's soul created the doppelganger is because the doppelganger is what came out, as we're shown in season 3.
Yeah.
Well, sort of at the end of season 2, but you don't know if he's possessed or what.
Right.
But it's a separate being.
Right.
It's called Mr. C, the evil Cooper in season 3. And there was a whole theory that like he uses some sort of a briefcase communication device in season 3 that people are like, that's Wyndham Earl's briefcase.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, holy shit. Maybe if he's created from Wyndham Earl's soul, he goes to Wyndham Earl's hideout and picks up that briefcase thing. Maybe like there's some remnant of Wyndham Earl inside Mr. C.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, not a ton.
Sure.
But he's made from the pieces of Wyndham Earl or something. And so Wyndham Earl is mildly present in the villain of season 3.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That is something.
Sarah Palmer speaks in tongues again later in season 3. Like they introduced this awesomely crazy thing of like creaking your face open like a
so kick-ass.
Like a cabinet door.
You know what I also loved in season 2? It just kind of reminds me of it because of it having kind of like a weird outline quality to it, the same way Sarah Palmer opening her face does, and there's like the outline of the universe is in her head. I did not remember this weird thing of sometimes they're talking about like Major Briggs's dreams or visions or something, and then there'd be like an outline of like a cloaked figure or something. It looks so cheesy in 90s. Like white screen, cloaked figure outline with the night sky inside of it, and then like an owl hooting through it. It happens, I think, twice.
Yeah.
But I was like, would you look at this?
I know. Look at what they're doing here.
Look at that.
Wow.
I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Laura Palmer will come back.
Yeah.
The next thing that we would cover would be Fire Walk with Me.
Yep.
Which is essentially a prequel with sequel elements.
Yes.
And her character will get fleshed out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to say about the overall overarching world of this story? How season 2 connects to the greater fabric?
I don't think so.
Of the universe?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I might be. I mean, Major Briggs.
I guess I'm about to say, the thing is, I really love the Major Briggs of it all, and I think it's such a pleasant surprise how much that connects to season 3.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
I remember being kind of like, really? This is where we're sort of picking up?
Yes, but I really like all the weird, it's not even necessarily about Major Briggs, but I really like all the weird stuff about Project Blue Book and the Owl Cave and everything in season 2. And I enjoy that continues a little bit in season 3.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite things that I think about season 3 have to do with that, with just like Gordon Cole and what is his name? I always forget. It's Miguel Ferrer. Yeah, Albert. Just piecing stuff together and like that weird swirl in the sky and Gordon Cole being like, Albert, I have to tell you, I don't know what's going on here, or whatever the line is. I don't know what it is.
I always think about there's a great scene where Albert and Gordon Cole are talking to each other and everything is blue. I think they're talking at dusk or
it's in
like
that.
pre-dawn,
Yes.
and it's very almost like whispery.
It's during that he says that.
Gordon Cole speaking at a moderate tone is like very spooky.
Yeah.
Very
and
good.
It's that all that stuff is a continuation of Major Briggs's like mission in season 2. And that is, I think, probably like my favorite stuff of season 3. So like, I'm just glad that they kept that thread because that's just like my favorite stuff of season 3.
Yeah.
As I remember it now.
I remember now a lot of season 3 when we eventually get there is about being kind of confused about the 25-year gap and what's transpired. Some of that gap is filled in to confusing degrees by the book, The Secret History of Twin Peaks. Like Garland Briggs, it's like explained that like from sitting at that diner where he's talking to Sarah, when he suddenly sees that Coop is back and something is wrong. Like he immediately has to snap to action. Like there's almost like a pseudo... There's like a season 2.5 that happens within the book, The Secret History of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
That kind of spackles that gap together a little bit.
Totally.
But maybe we'll talk about that.
And if you're interested in that book, by the way, because we're talking about it so much, it's really cool both in audio and in print.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a very cool book.
Yeah, I really appreciate in Twin Peaks world that like... Because they also did The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, which is really gnarly to read. I think I talked about that last time. But like Cheryl Lee came back 25 years later to do the audio book. It's like, I love that Twin Peaks has a variety of mediums. It's got it's got seasons of shows. It's got a movie. It's got all these books. And then it's got this weird 19-hour-long movie and or miniseries, whatever you want to call season 3. I like that. And I like that The Secret History of Twin Peaks is like, it's great as a physical book that you can read, because it reads like a bunch of documents, or the audiobook has all these people.
The only thing I'd probably not recommend, it probably wouldn't be great as an ebook. That'd probably be a little
that's
annoying.
Interesting. Yeah,
but any other format, I've had an audiobook and the physical book, and they're both great.
I never listened to the audiobook. I loved reading
great.
the
Like they
book
did such a good job of, because there are a ton of like footnotes and stuff in it, and it's like, and it's basically set up as being like an agent is going through these dossiers and making notes on the dossiers that are kind of in the footnotes and stuff, and they do a great job of making that not confusing.
I love that.
It's very dynamic.
And I think I'm going to listen to it.
It's
this
great.
time. I just love that Twin Peaks really defied like a single medium. They just sort of did everything. Like in telling a big sprawling story, it spilled out into all these various kinds of storytelling, and it seems like they really tried to do it to the nines.
Totally.
You know,
totally.
I like that quite a bit. Something of note as we wrap up. Mark Frost was recently interviewed, because we've been doing all these shows in the aftermath of David Lynch's death. He has commented on the future of Twin Peaks, which is hard to imagine.
Right.
But he said it's been revealed now that there was some sort of a story that he and David Lynch had started to kick around. He's like, it was in the wind, which I think means it was probably more spoken than ever written down. Just like, what if we did blah, 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 blah. But he did comment that like, the whole thing with Twin Peaks from his point of view has always been never say never. So he was like, so even though David Lynch is dead, could there be more? Maybe. I don't know. And a lot of people have pounced on that for headlines of like, the future of Twin Peaks. He's really kind of being non-committal.
Totally.
But I do think that part of the comment that Mark Frost made was that he might be interested in books.
Yes, I saw the same thing, that like, it seems more likely that they would release something in print.
And I would love that. I think that Mark Frost's, it really is fascinating to see like, and there were so many other people that worked on Twin Peaks that you don't necessarily really hear from.
Totally. Because again, as we've said, like David Lynch was checked out for most of, and Mark Frost were checked out for most of season 2. And really was more, David Lynch was most involved with establishing like the tone in season 1. He actually wasn't even around for like that much of season 1.
Yeah.
But he made, I mean, his impact on it was huge. But just as far as like literal man hours and being around, he actually wasn't super involved in it on a day-to-day level.
Yep.
Like a ton of people were involved.
You see all these other names that repeat on all these episodes, like Harley Payton and I think Mike Engels, like all these other folks you never hear from.
Yeah.
But their contributions to Twin Peaks are probably just as impactful, even though they're maybe not the ones that people love. But it's like they were trying to keep this thing alive and in motion, and you got to respect that.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
But it's remembered almost exclusively as the David Lynch project, which is, listen.
Yeah.
People like the figurehead.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? Even Mark Frost is a footnote. Like
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's just it's fascinating. I really like it. I was really happy to rewatch season 2, even though it gets rough.
Yeah.
Especially knowing, that's the other thing, is like however many storylines I tallied up here, like season 3 continues that trend. They'll just introduce more people, more characters, more subplots, more whatever.
I think
watching season 2, I was just kind of like, right, this is what Twin Peaks almost is. It's 1,000 disconnected things that somebody is making the claim, oh, it's all connected.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm going to be curious about how I feel about season 3.
It'll be hard to top the way that you and I watched it last.
Absolutely. Yeah, Will and I watched it completely mainlining one episode after another, just in a complete row one day, which was totally awesome.
He said it was a 19-hour long movie or whatever. So you came over at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And we did the whole thing.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But that's for another day.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back next week. Actually, you know what we're doing next week? Next week, we are talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, my God.
In preparation for the movie coming out later in July, we'll be visiting the town of whatever that town is called. Yet another little I feel like I said that like Trump.
Yeah.
We're visiting the town of whatever that town is called.
We love this town. No one knows what it is. Frankly, no one knows what the fudge they're doing.
I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah. But yeah, anyway, we're going to be talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer next week in case anybody wants to get in on that. You can watch those movies. But that's what we'll be doing. So until then.
What are we doing? What do I have to do? Am I watching both movies?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
I think I have to watch both movies. Why am I asking you? I have to. What choice do I have? Yeah. I'm locked in my own brain.
So yes, you do. You do. And then when the movie comes out, we'll watch that too when the new one comes out. So we will see you soon. Until next time, we must travel
back to the netherworld. Go away. Come here, kid. Come here. How are you, my love? Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Nice to see you, everybody.
Nice to see you, everybody.